So my whole life, I have been something of an amateur student of the sciences of linguistics and etymology. I've always been fascinated by language my whole life. Words, where they come from, and more importantly, why they are what they are, like the phonetics of words. Why do certain word sounds mean what they mean, right? And I'm practically, I barely finished high school, so it's not like I'm a fucking genius. I don't have any education in this, but it's something I like reading about, and I read about it extensively. Words, I'll read a certain word and I'll be like, where does that come from? And then I'll read about it. And that's like a thing, that's an interest I have, that's a hobby I have. So there's something that pertains to that I bring up a lot around people, and they just don't seem to understand what I'm talking about, to really wrap their head around it, or to really care. And so I'm going to rant about it here. And that is that Lil Jon's coinage of the term skeet, in the 2002 track Get Low, has potentially massive implications on the science of linguistics. And that's because, really analyze what that word is and what it means. Skeet, right? It means ejaculation. And it's an onomatopoeia, essentially, a word that is phonetically supposed to represent a sound. But the thing is, ejaculation makes no sound. At least mine doesn't. And yet we all universally understand that the sound skeet is effectively representative of the sort of propulsion, the trajectory of ejaculate. Now, how is that? Why is that, right? The why here, that's where the meat and potatoes of this thing lies. That's where the fun is. Because to me, it's reminiscent. It's evocative of the what scientists refer to as the Kiki Booba effect. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. Scientists basically, they did this study where they had these two shapes, and one was like jagged and pointy, and the other one was like round and soft edged. And then they would take a test subject, they would put them down in front of these two drawn shapes, and they would say, you have to name one of these Kiki and Booba. Which one is which, like, according to how they look. And overwhelmingly, like, over 90% of people said that the sharp object is Kiki and the round one is Booba. And I'm sure you watching this, if you haven't heard of this study before, you were thinking that too. Most likely. It's like, of course, the round one is Booba and the sharp one is Kiki. But fucking why? You know what I mean? Why? There's no reason, there's no implicit reason for that, and yet it is that way for the vast majority of human beings. So what's up with that? What's that about? I mean, think about it. Even the letters making up those words, like B, B, it's round, and then K, K, it's sharp, it's angular. So there's something, somehow we have sharp sounds, we have round sounds, we have sounds that mean come. And we all just like inherently understand that. And nobody knows why. And that's maddening to me. But Lil Jon is a motherfucking genius for putting that together. There's something so ancient and eternal and primal to skeet, to like getting, like, you get it, right? You get that. Like, you wouldn't even need fucking context. You just hear that song, and it's just like, yeah, that's cum. Of course that's cum. How is that not cum? I bet whoever the ancient person who came up with the word cum is, they're looking down from the afterlife feeling like a fucking moron. Why didn't I think of skeet? That makes way more sense. And I know you could make the argument to me. You could be like, hey, skeet is also like skeet shooting, you know. So like it's a metaphor that the gun is your penis. I don't think that's what he's doing. Okay, I don't think that's what he's going for. I think it's fully onomatopoeic because I mean I don't think I can think of an example off the top of the head right now. But there are other words in English certainly that are onomatopoeic for things that don't make sound. I'd have to come back to you and give you an example of that. But there are other examples like that that are, I think ultimately most language actually is, uh, to some degree, somewhere back. If you trace it, if you go far back enough, there's a lot of onomatopoeia in the origins of words. That's what I've found. That's what I've, in my casual, independent, for fun studies that I've done, it goes back that way a lot, even for things that don't have sound. So it's like, this is how language works somehow. So, like, I don't know, Lil Jon is like tied up into this weird, intrinsically human thing that's how we do that with language. And then, then you go to the literal, the fact that it's about ejaculation, which is like a primal, crass thing, and it all comes together. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like infinity. It's like the universe. You know what I'm talking about? Am I fucking insane? Do you get what I'm saying here? There's something just like universal about that. Collective consciousness about it. That's fucking fascinating. Collective consciousness is a big deal to me. It's a thing I think about a lot, you know? And that's a whole nother fucking kettle of fish. But that's why I like language, because it's tied to that, because it has to be, because language is everybody's, so it has to be. It's all about comprehension and understanding. We all have to understand it. You get that. You understand that. So I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Lil Jon, like, you could write a whole college thesis just about skeet skeet, and I bet you somebody fucking has. I'm almost certain somebody has, because, yeah, kiki booba skeet skeet. Just think about it,